a lot of times we think we have to be thinking a certain thing to act on it. And it's I think sometimes the other way around. What's up, good people? I hope you're doing extremely well. And in today's mindfulness moment, I want to talk about the notion of feeling amazing. And, feeling amazing when things are happening that you don't want to happen, or you're having adversity in your life, is a challenge sometimes. And I think, there is a way to still feel great even in those moments. And it has a lot to do with, your mindset and what you believe about yourself and believe about the moments you're in. If you are able to kind of refocus yourself and put yourself in a different frame of mind, things can move into a different space at any given moment in your life or in your day, So I just want to talk about that for a second. I know for me, there's been a lot of stuff going on around me that I see constantly. And I know we start to mirror those things. We start to reflect the things that we see or the things we're absorbing. I'm aware of that in myself. And I think, a lot of times people aren't aware of that, and they start to, have certain kind of energies, or they start to take on certain characteristics that may not be themselves or who they are at the core. And I start to recognize that in people, and I start to really see where just small shifts in their mindset or small shifts in, one or two things in their day could really, help benefit and put them on a different track. And I just want people to be aware that you can do that at any time. You can do that at any time. You don't have to ask for permission. You have to give yourself permission to do that, and, really be conscious of what's around you, who's in your space, who's giving off what energy, and how you can, sometimes have to combat that with the positive energy that you can give off. It's funny, a lot of times it's, you're mirroring the energy that someone else is giving off, and it's not even you. You're not even in that place, or you're not even feeling the things that, may be coming out or manifesting themselves. They're not internally you. It's just you mirroring someone else or mirroring another situation. So a lot of times, if we can recognize that we're in that state, we can begin to move beyond that point really quickly and move beyond that feeling really quickly. A good thing that I kind of practice, and I think is a good thing to do for all, is if you can cause yourself to do action. Because action is taking action is in a lot of ways a real jump starter for the mind. A lot of times we think we have to be thinking a certain thing to act on it. It's, I think, sometimes the other way around. Like, for instance, if you want to start working out, or you want to start eating right, I think sometimes if you just start on that course and start doing the action, then it kind of rewires your mind to want to do it more. So, same thing with being positive, or, having the right attitude about certain things, jump starting your mind by doing the action. So putting yourself in a position where you can take a specific action, even if it's small, even if it's a small action, as simple as, okay, if I'm feeling a certain way or a certain kind of negative energy, I immediately stand up and walk to the other side of the room. Something as simple as that will sometimes cause your brain or cause your mind to reset what's happening in that moment. And you'll be able to think clearly and put yourself in a different space in that moment, and also do that to others. That reset happens, in others, even in that action that you're taking. It's not just for you. That action is to help others reset in that moment. And it also works for the negative, unfortunately. Like if you've ever been in a situation where, someone you can feel their energy wanting to argue, and, you can feel they're in an argumentative space. And the more you feed into that, the worse it gets. The more you add fuel to that fire, the worse it gets. The more you, even if you aren't in that space, and you may be in the best mood you've been in a while, but if someone comes in with that energy on them of, wanting to argue or wanting to be negative, if you feed into that, it immediately starts to grow in you as well. You start to mirror that behavior, and that person doesn't understand that you're mirroring that behavior. They just take it as a threat, and that's what that energy does. It takes it as a threat, and it starts to amplify and multiply that energy. So a lot of times you can deviate away from that by just simply doing something that is that's doing something that is contrary to that. Like if you see, that energy, you may offer a kind word, or, smile, or, like I said, get up and move to the other side of the room. And that action will cause a reset to happen. And you'll see it, those resets, those small resets are so powerful because they allow people to, to think and start using their mind in a different way. And it's something to really start to consider when you want to, be in a good mood, or be in a space, or feel amazing. Like if you want to feel amazing all the time, that's a very key thing to do in those moments of adversity. It's just to cause yourself to reset and cause the things around you to reset. You can reset the room with your actions. So taking action, again, is a very key thing. The other thing to do is, if you are not in a place where you can take action, say things verbally that will cause that reset to happen. I was listening to something a while ago. I can't even remember who said it, but I was listening to something and it stuck with me because it was explaining how when someone is saying something negative, if you immediately say it's not true, it will immediately reset that situation where you don't internalize that untrue thing. So if someone is saying something about you that isn't true and is of negative value, you can say aloud to yourself, that's not true. And by you saying it's not true, you immediately reset that situation so that you are not internalizing that and making it a possibility of being true. And that is the thing you have to do. So even if you aren't in a place where you can take action from a physical standpoint, or move the way you want to move in a situation, you can verbally put yourself in a place where you can reset a situation with others. And it doesn't always have to be something negative. It can be something positive, or a kind word given to others to help reset that situation. We have power that way. You have power that way with your own actions, and power that way with your own words, that you can always reset something that's happening and be able to affect that in a positive way. And hopefully, we always, seek to use things in a positive light, but I know that doesn't always happen. Sometimes things happen where we are verbally speaking things of negative nature to others, and those things are powerful, and you see how they can spiral out of control. I'm sure we've all been in that situation where we're in an argument, we're in a heated situation, and afterwards we're thinking, what happened? I wasn't even in a bad mood, or I didn't want to have that argument with that person. And if you really trace back your steps, you'll see that there was a negative energy either coming from the environment, or that person that may have even been transferred to that person by another situation, and that negative energy just circulated in that moment and caused that big blow up and caused that argument to spiral out of control. But in that moment, if you had that reset, had that ability, or if you were conscious of what was happening and you were able to reset that situation, sometimes with just a word, a two-word phrase, or whatever move you were able to do, if you were able to reset that situation, 9 times out of 10, you never would have had that argument. I know we've all been in that situation. I've been in that situation many times, and it's funny thinking about it now in hindsight, and seeing that the simplest things can spiral out of control if the energy is there to allow that to happen. And you can either take it or leave it, but it's always that possibility when you're in that moment to, make something go where it wasn't supposed to go or where it was supposed to go. And I think you have to recognize that. And the more you recognize that, it gives you that power to always, have the power to be in a good mood or to feel amazing. If we want to feel amazing or feel good about the moments we're in, we just have to make that choice to reset those moments and frame those moments the way we want them to be. And it's as simple as that. I mean, it's hard. And I'm not going to say it's always easy. It is a hard thing to do, but I think in practice, if you start to practice those moves and practice those resets, it becomes a little bit easier because, sometimes there's so much ingrained and embedded, energy that people are giving off. Somebody that you may be dealing with somebody that, they always have a negative energy on them. And, you find yourself constantly having to combat that. But if you are in the mindset that you can reset those situations easily, you begin to be a catalyst for change for that person. Because the more you reset that person easily, the more you're able to diffuse their situation as they bring it, the more that energy begins to shift in them from an abundance of negative energy to an abundance of positive energy, because you're balancing out that equation. And that's really what it's all about, balancing out the equation, for yourself and for others. And the more you balance out energies that way, the more you'll be able to flourish in that and do it consistently and do it effortlessly. I hope this was helpful to someone, and we'll see you in the next one.